Welcome back, everyone, to the Week 2 previews here on the Sports News Analysis YouTube channel. This video is for the game between the Chicago Bears and the San Francisco 49ers. This game will be played out in San Francisco, the unveiling of their new stadium out there in the Bay Area. And both these teams coming into this game sort of off two totally different types of weeks. You had San Francisco going on the road, forcing 4 turnovers and beating the Cowboys 28-17. And you had Chicago, on the heels of committing too many turnovers, losing at home to a Bills team that they were touchdown favorites against. So, again, the Bears in this one, the key for them is going to be limiting turnovers. I know it sounds basic, and Bears fans are probably tired of hearing it, but when you see a team put up the statistics they do, when you have Matt Forte go for over 150 yards total last week, you have Cutler put up a lot of yards through the air, and then they still lose to a team that I think everyone thought was inferior to them, that really puts the emphasis on those turnovers. And you're playing a defense in San Francisco that forced 4 turnovers last week. But with that said, I think the weakest part of the San Francisco team as a whole is that secondary. All right, they were able to force turnovers last week. So, is this a sign of, hey, the San Francisco secondary is better than it was last year and this is what we can expect? Or was it just a case of Tony Romo having a terrible game? I think we're going to find that out this week. With Jay Cutler obviously looking for Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey, and also Matt Forte. Let's not forget, last week versus the 49ers, DeMarco Murray had almost 120 yards rushing and had 25 yards receiving. Matt Forte may be a tick better of a dual-threat running back. So how are they able to contain him, I think is going to be key as well. I think for the 49ers, they're going to do what they do on offense. You don't really see too many times when the 49ers strategy is dictated too much by the opposing team's defense. No less against the defense in Chicago, that until I see a team not move the ball up and down the field on them, I'm not going to believe it until I see it, because there's a defense that struggled a lot here last year. Against the run, they struggled last week, and that's cause for concern. When you obviously talk about a run-first offense in San Francisco, hosting them in week 2. The crowd in San Francisco will obviously be fired up because it's the opening of a brand new stadium. But I think the crowd would be fired up no matter where this game is being played, to be honest with you. But again, can that Bears defense cause any resistance? All right, because you look at Frank Gore and Carlos Hyde and company, then you look at a developing passing game behind that stud offensive line. Can the Bears even force some turnovers here? It remains to be seen. Will the 49ers even put Kaepernick in a position where he can commit turnovers? That's something I think that the 49ers do very well for their young quarterback. But in this one, I think it's going to come down to that Bears offense against that 49ers defense. And can that 49ers defense get after Cutler, disrupt his rhythm, and then obviously can the back end stand up to the likes of Jeffrey, Marshall, and of course Martellus Bennett. And don't forget about Forte, who's a huge weapon out of the backfield. I just think when all said and done, I look at Romo as being a lot like Cutler, where the numbers are pretty much always going to be there, but it's a matter of the risks they take and the turnovers they either commit or can possibly limit in this one. And I just think this will be one of these games where the 49ers are real physical, and I don't think that Bears defense can really stand up to it at this point in time. So I like San Francisco to win the game, but I like the Bears to be able to expose that secondary a little bit. All right, so I like the 49ers to win the game, but I like the Bears +7 in this one, because I think Jay Cutler will do some, but I think he'll make that unfortunate turnover that he always seems to do. And the 49ers are great at taking advantage of that and really making you regret stuff like that. The 49ers in their new stadium to win the game, but the Bears +7, keeping it close. Guys, let me know what you think. Hit me up in the comments. Hit me up on Twitter like usual. Be sure to subscribe. Couldn't do without the subscribers. All right. Thanks as always for listening. Have a great night.